everybody.
Welcome to this week's SNL.
Yeah. I need some applause, please. On the front, it says Pastor Carson,
Come on.
or I think potential church. King Kong versus Godzilla.
That is incorrect.
Titanic.
Oh, let's see. It is, in fact,
Correct. So if you'd like to be involved in the show, whether that's running a camera or the technical stuff, or if you just want to be in the studio audience, this means technical stuff.
Yeah.
Right here, technical stuff. You guys are producers. You know we're giving away a prize, and we don't have a drum roll?
I mean, we have.
Good evening.
Come on.
Come on. It is so good to see you. Nick.
Yeah, you need me to turn you up. Yep.
We are glad you guys are here. Thanks so much for tuning in to the show. That's what I think I'm going to start calling it.
The show.
The show.
The show.
That's also the MLB.
MLB the show.
Nobody watches MLB.
That they don't.
Ain't that the truth? They definitely don't watch the Marlins.
But they watch our show, right?
Come
Thomas and Leslie and Ross and Kala. How do you say your name?
Colin
Colonite. Oh, wow. That's an awesome name. And then Susanna, it's good to have you guys. Today was a horrific rainy morning, was it not?
I thought it was a
was.
great morning, but it was raining.
It was a horrifically well, you're right. I said that wrong.
Yes, you did.
It was an incredibly blessed morning. But because even in the rain, we had services.
That was good.
And people showed up.
And we didn't lose power.
And no, that you know what?
Flooded a little bit.
That
Yeah.
might be the first time we've never because it was
I would say
thunder
this is
and
more blessed than we realize.
you know what? And not only that, we were incredibly blessed because I meet with a group of prayer partners, and one of the things that I prayed for is that it would storm like the Dickens at our Panthers parade,
And it did.
and it did.
Your prayer worked.
It did.
Because I felt personally, would you say? Personally attacked? Not attacked. That's a little strong.
Offended.
Offended.
Yeah, offended.
Right.
Personally
Yeah.
offended. I cheered for the Panthers.
You fit in with this younger culture.
Yes, I would. That's right. Thank you. I'm young at heart. But I cheered for the Panthers. I wanted the Panthers to win. I even got my grandson a Panthers shirt. Played hockey with him. Pretended to be Edmonton.
Dang.
No one cares more than you.
No, you're exactly right. Very few fans. And then what do? They win. Barely.
Ain't that the truth?
But they win. And then when do they schedule the parade?
Sunday.
Do they do it on Friday?
Nope.
No. Do they do it on Saturday?
They should have.
No. When do they do it?
Sunday.
And what time do they do it on Sunday?
Sunday
11?
morning.
Sunday morning, and not just any time, 11 o'clock. When does the United States go to church? Probably. When does the world go to church?
Probably
Not often.
10:45.
At 11 a.m. Yeah, they don't. Those who do go.
Yes.
Let me phrase that. They go at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
That's just like a right to the heart. And I think it says something about those of you who might be watching who are of the Christian faith. I think they didn't have it on Friday because the Muslim community has services on Friday. And they said, hey, we're not coming. They didn't have it on Saturday because the Jewish community said, hey, we're not going to come.
What did the Christians say?
Christians
They we're
said,
gonna
what
do it on
time?
Sunday.
What time?
I'll be there, Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Drinking.
What time? What time? And they showed up
rain.
in the rain.
In the rain.
In the rain. So I could preach, but I'm not going to preach to the fine folks who are a part of our live stream because I'm sure they weren't at the parade.
No, they were here this weekend.
They were not at that parade. If they live within 100 miles, I'm sure they were here. If not, I'm sure they were online with us. Right? Right, folks?
Amen.
Yeah. I was here.
There was a eventful thing that happened this past week. This isn't really a tea with PT. This is a pre-tea.
Okay.
With
Oh,
PT.
okay.
A pre-tea.
Come on.
Pretty.
Oh, subscriber.
Robert
Watt.
Or
Robert,
Watt.
it's good to have you.
Definitely Watt.
Thank you for subscribing. And hey, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Right now. Your
Right now.
name will pop up on the screen
And you'll see it.
right there.
All right. And hit the bell so you'll know, because
Yeah.
we're going to do some on location
Absolutely.
live
And then you can
streams.
hit donate as well if you know what I mean, if you feel like it. Anyways, the debate happened on Friday. I was just curious if you had any thoughts on
Well,
that.
I did, but it didn't happen on Friday.
It happened on
Thursday.
Thursday, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
Thursday night, the debate happened, and I'm going to talk about.
Okay, we're gonna talk
Oh,
about that
okay,
later.
cool.
We're going to talk.
Cool.
I'm
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it during Soul Session.
I like it. You were waiting for a sound effect.
I
there,
was,
weren't you?
but I forgot who my producers are.
Producer.
All right. Anyways, we are glad you're here, and we want to celebrate. Come on. Because, we're still trying to figure this out. And I got to tell you, it's not easy. We're trying to figure this out. And on our YouTube channel, we surpassed 25,000. That's right. So a big thank you to all of you who have subscribed and are a part of it. And yes, Jessica, thank you for subscribing. I mean, not thanking. I am thanking Jessica, but
She's not subscribed.
she's part of the leadership.
Yeah.
She's
better.
She's
be
part of what
subscribed.
made it happen.
Yeah.
I do have a question for the chat
Hold it. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
because we had this discussion about long videos and short videos.
Uh-huh.
So I'm curious what the chat prefers. If they prefer long videos or they prefer short videos if they're watching on YouTube. And I'm not talking about you in particular, like your content. I'm just
Yes,
talking in
'cause
general.
my content goes.
I think hours they would watch.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
let me not ask, what do they like? Not what do they prefer? What do they watch?
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Do you watch shorts most of the time, or do you watch long form videos? So if you're a YouTube person, right? And if you don't watch YouTube, then do you watch, I guess they're all short form other than YouTube, right? Instagram would be
Yeah.
short form.
Yeah.
Twitch has got long form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the Eastern?
Instagram,
No, the Eastern
TikTok.
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 TikTok
That
is
Chinese
short
com-
form. Yes, out east. But anyways, let us know, short form, or long form. Anyways, 25,000 people. But guess what? We broke that at the first of the week.
Yep.
And right now we're at 25.5. So we've gained just this week 500 subscribers.
Come on.
And that's a big deal because we're 1/4 of the way
Yes.
we are.
to getting our very first YouTube play button.
That's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have cake, invite you all down to the studio.
Come on. A
course.
drunk live stream? PT?
What's that?
A what?
PT drinking stream for the 100,000? I think that could
And
be huge.
gambling.
I don't think
Might as well go to the
There we go.
Bahamas and gamble.
that kind of misses the point of what we're trying to do.
You're right.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
But keep thinking.
Okay.
We can come up
We'll
with
shoot some more ideas
we
your
can-
way.
We can come up with something. 100,000. That would be awesome. We'll put a little
that'd be wild.
little silver plaque.
Not
right-
would be, will be.
That
Will be. We'll put it right back here. Maybe we'll put it in one of the lockers and surprise you.
Oh. I don't think it fits. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh, is it pretty big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's on a plaque and everything.
Wow. And it comes from headquarters.
Yeah.
Google. Now, we do have room here in the studio audience because one of the things that's happened since we changed it to Sunday is we've kind of lost some of our studio audience.
That we did.
But we have gained online audience, which is just what we're really after.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we do have giveaways, and today's kind of a grab bag of things because we haven't been on the road, and that's a good thing. So, what do we have in the lockers? Can I have some music? I have, of course, I have T-shirts, and here is your choice. Now, here's the way you can win. You just got to invite somebody who is not presently in the chat, and they just come in and say, "Hey, John invited me to be a part of it." All right. I guess sit down here. Angel's jumping up and helping us. Thank you so much. We have this one from Honduras. Woo!
Thank you, Ross. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who'd I say?
You said Angel.
Angel. What I meant is Ross is an angel.
Yeah.
Come
it's-
on.
We have Arizona.
Come on.
Yeah.
There we go. We have the white hot heat. And what's this one?
Mickey, the mouse.
Yeah, so you can have your choice. That sounds boring. Or, you know what? We have something else they can
Not a
choose from.
Disney fan, apparently.
We have something else. We actually have journals with the logo on them.
Come on.
Right here. You could write your journal. You could write your notes of the great teachings or from the soul session. I need a little button so when I say that.
Yeah.
Soul session.
There we go.
There you go. But anyway, so we got that. All you got to do is invite somebody. They come on and they say, hey, whoever invited me, I'm here. And then if they become a member, we'll give you an extra T-shirt.
Oh.
Not a member. A subscriber. If they become a subscriber, we'll give you an extra T-shirt. So anyways, it is that time of the evening, that time of the show that I know you've all been waiting for. It is Tea with me, Mr. T. All right.
Come on.
Here we go.
All right. So just so everybody kind of knows, what we try to do is look at what's going on in the world and then give a pastoral perspective.
Interesting.
A pastoral perspective.
I'm ready for your pastoral perspective here.
All right. A giant alligator lunging at cars in the North Carolina road shooed away after firefighters take a clever approach. I wonder what the clever approach was. A 12-foot alligator was lunging at cars in the middle of a dark road in North Carolina. That should be happening in Florida, not North Carolina.
Yeah.
On Friday, and encouraged to move on after firefighters deployed a unique method, spraying the massive reptile with a hose. The giant gator was reported to be blocking traffic at around 1 a.m. Wow. The angry interloper. You can tell that was written by a college educated.
Oh, just like that.
The interloper was lying in the middle of the road and would lunge at passing motorists. Do you feel sorry for the alligator?
No.
Because he was probably confused. You know what I mean? He's just trying to cross the road.
Apparently, alligators have been around for a very long time. At one point,
They should have
if you
learned.
believe that kind of stuff, at one point, they were dominant.
They were.
You know what I mean? And now they're,
Yep.
it's kind
Oh.
of like when you go from the starting lineup to the bench.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah. That thing's huge.
And he does not
Now
look
there's
happy.
a Florida man that says got bitten.
Extremely rare alligator attack.
Yes. So in North Carolina, they shoo them away. In Florida, we walk up to them and get bitten, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are some
That thing is
pictures of
huge.
using the hose.
Wow.
Oh, wow,
It's a
yeah.
big alligator.
That
It
thing's
is.
massive.
I'm surprised that they didn't catch it and remove it.
Yeah.
Because you know what we need to do next week? We need to show the video of me wrestling an alligator.
Oh, come on.
Because I have, guys. I have.
Someone send the footage.
I have. I think Matthew, Pastor Danny, does Matthew have the footage? I have wrestled, and I think it was a 15-foot alligator. I really don't think it's 15 foot.
I
But
did hear alligators grow. They don't die from old age. They die because they just continue to grow, and eventually they're so big that they can't eat fast enough to sustain their size. That's
Yeah.
why the ones in captivity get so big.
reptiles, I don't think ever stop growing.
Yeah.
You know what else never stops
Crocs.
growing? Your ears.
And your subscriber count. Hey,
Oh, come on.
That's good. That's
Come on.
good. But I read an article, your ears. That's why old men, have you ever
big
noticed
ears?
old men have big
Yeah.
ears? And the reason is because your ears never stop growing. Now you're going to all be subconscious of your ears.
Self-conscious.
What I say, subconscious.
Subconscious.
Anyways. So what, did anybody in the chat answer your question? Short form or long form?
I did see some short forms. Jess, my wife, said that she gets short form through Instagram, TikTok. YouTube is just long form,
Okay.
which is kind of for the most part
think
how I would go.
people- Yeah.
Like
I do
Instagram,
short form
TikTok.
on YouTube.
You know what? I don't watch short form. I spoke a lot in my mouth. I don't do short form. You know what? You know why?
Why?
Because if you're watching, what do you have to do on short form? You have to
Swipe.
swipe.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't take
seems
much.
so tiring.
Interesting.
But that's the truth, because I put it on my iPad and then I just sit there and I watch it like a TV.
Yeah.
And I don't want to reach up there and,
Interesting.
Well, here's the way. Now, I have people in the studio audience. I don't know what you guys in the chat think, okay? But in the studio audience, I have people booing me. But the way I look at it is just focused. You only have so much energy in life. And I can waste it on just, or I can use it to read something that would stimulate my brain.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're not swiping right.
Yep.
That's right. I am not. Ears and nose, we're all living Pinocchios.
Oh, another subscriber.
Another subscriber.
Sort of awesome.
Sort of awesome. I think you're all awesome.
Come on.
Thanks for joining. We are glad you are here. Don't forget, we got giveaways if you invite somebody to be part of the show. Or, well, you know what we're going to do?
Tell me.
We're going to give away a shirt and a journal to the winner.
Come on.
Look.
Big
A
time.
journal. It's got real paper.
Just in case y'all
None of
thought
that
it was
fake
fake paper.
Yeah, it's not. This is not pretend. It's not just
Yeah.
the shell.
Yeah.
It's got
No,
paper.
No,
There's
real
actual-
trees.
Hey,
were
I
cut
think
down.
I think this came from Italy. No, China. But it's made like it came from Italy.
Come on. Leather.
Because aren't good notebooks and paper, they always say, like, is it Italy or France? I think it's Italy. Anyways, what's the next story that we got?
All right. So the next one, I thought this was very interesting.
Yeah, it says Florida experiences once in a millennium record rainfall and flash flooding. That's the most ever in an hour.
I find that hard to believe.
I don't believe it.
1,000 years, this was the
Yeah, no,
most
that's wild.
rain.
I mean, I've lived here a long time.
1,000 years?
No, 1,000 years. But I don't think it's the most in my 24 years.
Yeah.
Now,
That's what I'm
maybe,
saying.
maybe where does it say that happened?
Well, that car is in
Right.
trouble.
But, in Miami, it floods every time it rains.
Well, in Brickell, it can sprinkle out there. They're underwater.
The most ever in an hour, said David Parkinson, senior weather producer at CBS, per The Guardian. About an hour's drive north of there, the Tampa Bay area had 8 inches of rainfall. Where did it say? Sarasota. So it wasn't here. We didn't see
Sarasota.
it. It was on the other side of the state where they don't really live on the ocean. And now if you're watching from the other side, okay, it's the ocean, but
It's like the backwash.
it's really
of
the
the ocean.
Gulf. It's really the Gulf.
Right.
And there are storms out there already.
There is. Speaking of which,
Burl is out there. Is it Burl?
Yep, Burl.
Burl.
Burl. Why do they
Sounds like
give him
he's
those
from
kind of names?
Arkansas.
Yeah, that's it. That's an Arkansas name, I do admit. Burl intensifies. Now, good news is, according to the National Hurricane Center, is before it hits land,
In which we trust.
they're always right.
Always right.
They're
Never
always
been wrong.
right. But it's not going to be a major hurricane by the time it gets to land.
And on the land in which it's going to land is not going to be Florida's land.
That it won't.
According to the National Hurricane Society. But I
In
just
which
got
we trust.
But I got to warn you. Anybody that's new, if you happen to be in the Florida area or you're just kind of watching, let me tell you something about the National Hurricane Center. If it says it's not going to hit Florida, it's time to go get your milk and bread. Right? It's time to go get your milk and bread.
And
I don't
toilet
think-
paper.
I don't think milk is what you get in a hurricane. I think that's the opposite of what you get.
Yeah.
Water.
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 Milk goes bad.
Oh, that's right. Because the worst part of a hurricane, I mean, I'm sure,
That's a crazy statement. No, go ahead.
well,
go
I
ahead.
hadn't even said, I hadn't made the statement yet.
Go ahead.
The worst part of a non 4 or 5,
Yeah.
so we're going to say 3 and below, is the power goes off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you get the 4 and 5, that's dangerous. But a 3 and below, it's just the power goes off. And in Florida, in case you don't know, South Florida, it's very hot and very humid. So not only have we had the most rain in history, we also have the earliest Category 4 hurricane in history, according to, that's what it says. Hurricane
yeah.
Burl intensifies to Atlantic's
I didn't read this.
earliest Category 4 on record. Now, I did ask one of our local weather people, because it always seems like when there's a storm, they go and stand in the deepest water where it's the windiest.
Yeah.
And you know what? They told me they did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they do.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we have got a
It's a good segue.
video of
Hey, I'm a professional.
news people doing that exact very thing.
All right, so I hope you watch these.
We
Yeah,
did.
we did.
We
We
had
had
to
to
start it a
fast
little
forward
later.
a little bit.
in the video.
All right,
All right.
Oh, man.
here we go.
Do you realize there's a hurricane going on?
I was born on that like this.
Okay.
Woo! Where's that at?
There is no sand. It's hitting up against the seawall.
There's always
and
those
also
people.
We're worried about that.
Would you be one of these people?
No.
I think we should make a PT like in the storm.
Oh, we could do that, a
Ooh.
live stream in the storm.
Yeah.
I
know,
got
I've-
nothing else to do.
I've done that before, but it was more like, let's pray for the storm, not dance around.
But hear me out. We'll pray too.
We'll do both.
We can do
I
that.
think Sunday Night Live it's the perfect
Ooh.
balance of both.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fun,
We'll do a soul session,
right?
but we'll also have the
Well,
I
and
know
I think
flooding-
people want to dance around. You know, you don't want to be nervous and freaked out and worried about your, hurricane shelters and all that stuff.
absolutely.
And we
Other
got to show the
areas-
rest of the country what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not this fake stuff.
That's
that
right.
They show on here.
Watch out.
Oh!
He gave her
Well,
the late.
Yeah.
Wow, he
and
didn't even-
watch
No.
out, and he takes a step back.
Now, you know what's funny about this? I can relate in some sense, and here's why. We do something at Potential Church called beach baptism.
Yeah.
And when we do beach baptism, we've got the person in the water. I can see, they cannot, what's coming behind them. And there are moments where at the last thing you're like, watch out, boom, and then they get, baptized without me having to do anything.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Lord's baptism.
Exactly.
Kansas. All right.
Okay,
Not
so
as lower
Chad,
pressure, but
Chad,
Camille.
Chad,
Let me talk, Carol.
Translate that for us.
Wow.
What that means. What does that mean?
CNN.
If you would let me talk.
This storm is going to get much, much worse. This is only the beginning, and so all of the warnings do need to be taken seriously. Of course, power outages could be a problem. That's never a good idea, folks.
We are live throughout these next 2 hours, and Larry King takes it live, then we take it live for another hour. We have much more coverage of Hurricane Ike still coming up. There's a lot of people, if you can believe it or not, in Houston, a couple bars
That's a
are still
chicken.
open. People are drinking.
You know, Matt, our truck operator, Tom Bear, said, don't you wish you had your weight back? Right about now, I do.
You okay?
Right.
We're okay. We're okay.
Okay.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah, no, I don't get
I
it.
was saying, I don't know how much these people get paid, but they don't get paid enough.
Not nearly.
Whatever it is.
idea. Eastern, 1 hour from now, they want everybody who doesn't have a reason to be outside inside their homes. You heard from the mayor.
There's that guy. He's everywhere.
There's three of them.
That worries them, but at this point, if you haven't left, don't go out. You probably can't get out of Atlantic City anyway because the roads have become overwashed.
This is the first of the really powerful gusts. Whoa, there's some debris starting to blow around, and we want to get out of the way if we can see anything. We're in a very open area. Not a lot of commercial activity out here. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
a lot of debris recently, but it was a couple of hours ago that
I think they're bored and they do it.
Oh,
He's
in the bush. In the
Oh, my
bush
God.
he goes.
hold on.
Hold on.
He looks like he's having fun.
All right. Sorry about that. Wow, that was a heck of a gust.
This was Irene. Do you remember Irene?
Yeah, I went to school with her.
I am past perpendicular.
That was a good joke.
He is past perpendicular.
Perpendicular.
Yes. Lay down flat
holding me
and
up,
fly.
guys.
I bet he could.
That is.
That'd be scary.
Wait, it
taken
takes you
away?
up?
61 miles per hour.
When you're going to get some close. Tell me what you're doing.
I'm getting drunk.
Okay, great.
At least she's honest.
And you live close by?
Yeah, I live in Cairns, but if the rain's really bad and you should stay inside if you have nothing else to do.
Okay.
It's really bad.
All right. Thank you. We're going to send it back to you guys on TV Hill. As you
That's
can
where the
tell,
boss
people
is
are
like,
doing,
what
they're
were
not
you
afraid
thinking?
to say
Exactly.
it, but the streets are empty.
All right, we're going to take you back out to the Galveston coastline, right on the seawall. Our Russell is still standing by there, and we see some clown who's out there trying to enjoy what's left of a nice day. And Russell is there
Piggly
watching
Wiggly?
One of those piers come crashing down with the
And he's like,
seawater.
why is the cameraman still showing this?
Yeah, we're watching
Oh, it's a
person in
bear. I thought it was a pig.
right now. That's a first, but you are correct. Gus, if you could swing back over that way so we can show the folks at home what's left of this pier.
This is video of a jet skier out here on the
Now
East
that's
River.
crazy.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
wild.
flying. He did a loop up
'Cause
near
he's
the
by
Brooklyn
himself
Bridge,
out there,
came
yeah.
back down and went south. NYPD officers are out here under the FDR right near us, and they jumped out. They were trying to get an eye on him. They were on their radios. You know, that's just foolish. You're having then the Harbor Patrol and other vessels out here on the river.
Oh.
They're going to try and get him. I don't know. He circled back around towards the battery and over in that direction.
We're talking about an intensification of the winds. We're now gusting well over 60 miles an hour here in Virginia Beach. That's leading to some debris starting to break loose. So things getting a little bit dangerous. We might have to move a little bit our location. This piece right here, this is concrete. If I drop this, you'll see it break. Probably. Didn't break up.
Didn't break.
Part of the shingle. It just came off the side of that building. Here goes that limb.
Oh, there's a limb.
Have you ever had an illustration that's supposed to prove a point and it just did not work?
Yes.
Any
I
that
bet.
come to mind?
No, not any particular one, but well,
Oh, here we go.
One came to mind.
one time I was doing this Christmas series, and I had these. I don't remember what point I was trying to make, but I had all these like stuffed animals, and somehow I was trying to make some kind of point about I don't know what. But I throw it down on the ground. I start stomping on these, doll Santas, and I thought, that's not really what I need to be doing at Christmas time. Smashing these Santas. So the next service,
that's funny.
Oh, go ahead.
No, next service I didn't kill Santa in
that one.
front of all the kids.
You did have a slip up on stage when you were. I don't know if it counts as an illustration, but you know how they feel when they slip.
Yes, I
in the
do.
line of duty.
Yes, I slipped on some grapes.
Yes,
I
Yes, you
was
did.
shooting. We were shooting baskets on the Horn of Plenty, huh? Was it cranberries? Yeah,
Yes.
because it was the Horn of Plenty.
A horn
What do you
of
call the
plenty.
Horn of Plenty? What do you call that horn at Thanksgiving?
I have no idea. But we are looking it
Chat,
up.
do you guys know? What
We're
do you
looking-
call the Horn of Plenty?
Cornicopia?
Yeah, Suzanne remembers the Cornicopia.
It's a Magic the Gathering card.
Cornicopia? That's what it's called? Cornicopia? I think so. There's no corn in it.
Horn of Valhalla.
But anyways, that what?
Horn of Valhalla?
We do have that tape too, but yes, that one always makes it for some reason. But anyways, next week we are going to show. What I say? The what? The clip of what though? What?
I don't remember. It was something.
What I say I was going to show.
Matthew
Chat.
has it.
Oh,
Alligator.
yeah,
Oh,
Alligator.
yeah, that's
Grappling.
right. Wrestling the alligator.
It slipped all of our
Right,
minds.
Leslie? We're gonna show-
Cornicopia. Jess said.
Cornicopia. Thank
Yeah.
you, Francine.
Now, Jess also has a tendency to just
make up words.
she gives answers whether she knows or not.
All right.
You gotta spell
All right, guys.
Oh, yeah, it is.
We
Cornicopia.
Cornicopia. What
Yeah.
does you got a definition?
Now I have a picture.
Yes. So we had those, and we were shooting them in the basket, and as a result, there are cranberries and stuff in them, and they fell and they got crushed. And then I went to walk to the basket, and I slipped and I fell. I don't remember what we were trying to do, but anyways, it was embarrassing. It did not hurt until the next day. But
It
I've never
was,
fell off the stage. We did have a guy one time, first week in the building, and I don't know if you've ever seen our stage, but it's pretty high because the floor's not slanted like on most auditoriums. And we used to have coffee backstage, and this was an older gentleman. And just as he was going back to get his coffee, he got his coffee, and just as he was coming down the steps, or getting ready to come down the steps, the lights went out, he missed the steps, and he stepped off the stage.
Oh.
And we
I haven't seen him since.
We had to call an ambulance.
The definition of cornucopia, a representation of a goat's horn overflowing with fruit, flowers, and grain, signifying prosperity.
Ah, I need one of those.
Cornicopia.
A cornucopia that we can just symbolize prosperity.
Amen.
All right, guys, we got a record we have never lost, and it's getting that time. It's time for the one game that we always play because we are people of intelligence.
Oh, another subscriber.
Daniel, right. We are so glad you are here today. Thanks for joining and subscribing. Don't forget there's a contest. All you got to do is invite somebody, and if they subscribe, well, we might even throw in something extra.
Oh, come on.
That's right. You never know. Because, hey, there's one thing for sure. There is no live stream show on the internet other than Mr. Beast that gives away more.
Yes.
Oh.
I saw where he just gave away 100 homes.
I think that's maybe next Sunday.
Yeah, that's a little more than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Just a little.
Yeah.
we give away T-shirts.
Come on.
Come on.
Which one would you rather have?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody has a home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or not everybody, but lots
But
of people.
most people.
But not everybody has a Mickey Mouse T-shirt.
Come on.
Well, let me tell you, when that home is gone because of Hurricane Bob
Burl?
or Burl, you're going to wish you had that T-shirt.
That's right.
Well,
That's
the
right.
T-shirt may be gone with the home.
No, you still got the T-shirt.
Yeah?
No,
Oh,
yeah.
you wore it. You wore it
Yes.
that day. Ah,
Exactly. It's
okay.
what's keeping you warm out on
Yeah.
the street.
That's right. That's right. Like those weather people. All right. Wordle is a game that begins with a 5-letter word.
Oh, you got it right this time. Come on.
It only took me, what episode is this?
Oh, I don't know.
Like episode 50?
57?
Anyways, it only took me 57 episodes to get that right. So we need a 5 from the chat. We need okay, we already have it. Piano. Oh, no, we have Gator. Let's do Gator since we had a Gator.
Come on, Carly.
Oh.
Terrible. Babe, come
Gator.
on.
I don't know
was
if we've
bad.
ever had that before where we don't
Yeah,
get
no.
anything.
The other one we have is piano.
Well, there's no A.
There's no way.
Oh, it can't be piano.
Or O.
It can't be train.
Miles? Mason said
Miles could work.
Miles. All right. Let's try it.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Could it be our first?
Is
Our
this gonna be
first
the day?
loss.
Okay, so A-E-I-O-U.
We have
so
fruit.
The vowel has to be U.
Train. There's
Fr-
no
There's
A.
no I, though.
There's no A either. And it can't be fruit because there's no I.
Wow. So it's got to be U.
Happy? No, there's no A. Lucky.
Lucky.
Noel.
Oh, yeah,
Noel.
Noel. Noel.
Goose eggs. No, that's more than 5 letters.
Goose eggs, I think, is like, we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
It's a goose egg.
I-
Okay,
I-
gotcha.
He was making a joke off the joke.
That was my, yes.
That was above my head.
Wow.
Funny.
F-U-N-N-Y.
U-N-N-Y. Yeah.
All right. All right, Danny Fernandez. No cheating.
Okay.
All right. So those are the right letters in the right spots.
Yeah.
Toonie? No, there's no ends.
There's no ends.
I also don't think that's a word.
Buddy?
Buddy?
Huh?
Iris with Buddy?
It could be, right? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Whoa! Yes! Way to go, Pastor Iris. Pulled it out of the fire. I was nervous on that
Yeah,
one.
I was terrified.
I was nervous. I was thinking we weren't going to win. But you know what? That's 75 try. What was episode 57? 57 tries and 57 wins.
Come on.
Because we are people of intelligence.
I'm sorry. I was just, another game came up. I was just looking at it.
Yes. All right. So, hey, it is the time of the show where we go from having exuberant time of enjoyment to a wellspring of wisdom.
Oh.
It is.
It is time for Soul Sessions.
That's me playing the big bass guitar there at the end, in case anybody wondered. But I want to talk about, you brought it up earlier, Carson, the debate. And I mentioned it in the service today, and I don't know whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whether you like our present president or our past president, who some want to be our future president. But either way, they are older gentlemen. And it just really has me thinking about, are those two men the best that we have to offer? And I don't mean their intellect or even their policy. I just mean by their age. Like, how do we more effectively raise up young leaders? And whether it be the next generation of parents or pastors or presidents, 3 Ps.
Mm.
So I wanted to talk about that because I do think that that is really important. And there are lots of books written about the strategy, you know, how do you raise up a leader, right? And I put it like this: how do you raise up next? And there are lots of, you know, you show them and then you do it with them and then they do it and then they watch you, right? All that kind of stuff. So I don't really want to talk about that. I want to talk about the emotional side because I think that's why we struggle to raise up next. And I think that even the two men that represent the two parties, I think this is a real struggle for all of us and can keep us from raising up next. And the next only comes when the present day leaders either fail or they die. You know, that happens in companies, it happens in churches, and it happens in politics. So let's talk about it real quickly, all right? Just I wanted to give you 3 thoughts as I was thinking about this. And I think if you truly want to be the kind of person that raises up next, and you think about that, do you want your children to go beyond where you've gone? Do you want the next manager, the next owner, the next politician, right? Whatever position it is you hold in life, on your personal side, and then think on your professional side. How do you raise up next? Okay, and whether you've got a big position or a small position, the way to promotion is to raise up next. So how do you do that? And I think the first thing that we all have to do is answer this question, because I think this is what gets in the way of people raising up next, is who are you? Right? Who are you? How do you get your identity? Because a lot of times we get our identity from what we do. I'm the president. I'm the governor. I'm the senator. I'm the pastor. I'm the coach. I'm the athlete. I'm the parent. And we get our identity from what we do. And so I think we have to ask the question, really, what is my value? I remember when I was playing basketball, from the 6th grade until probably, I don't know, 20, 21, I was known as the basketball player. All the articles in the paper weren't about Troy the person, they were about Troy the basketball player. When I went to college and people would introduce me, they'd say, oh, he plays on our basketball team. So my whole life that I could remember, I was the basketball player. Then when I got hurt and I quit playing basketball, guess what? I was no longer the basketball player. And for the first time in my life, I had to answer that question, who am I, other than a basketball player, right? So that had been my whole identity. And so I think it's really important to ask that question. That's what I wrote down, is how am I more than what I do? And I just challenge all of us to answer that question, right? Who are you? What gives you value? Because if you only get your value from what you do, you'll never let it go. Because you can't. You can't all of a sudden go in from being somebody to being nobody. And if the somebody you are is the result of being the manager of the store, or being the owner of the store, or being the leader of the team, or being a pastor, or being a president, whatever it is, you'll never let it go if that all your value goes from being that into that position. So maybe take some time and even list what makes me valuable. Yeah. Who am I beyond what I do? And then I think you have to answer this question that goes along with it, is do I love the organization more than my position? Right? Because we all say that, right? I love, my family. I love my church. I love my country. I love my business. I love my whatever, right? And we all say it, but I think we really have to ask that question. Am I willing to give up my position for the organization to move forward? And we know for the organization to move forward, there's got to be a next, or it dies. Families die, businesses die, countries die, right? That Rome used to be an incredibly powerful nation. Egypt used to be. The Aztec used to be, right? All of these, but they no longer are. Because somewhere along the way, they quit raising up next? So we got to ask that question. Then secondly, and there's only 3, so it's not going to be forever, okay? But the second one is the idea of, and this is the way I put it, risk empowering others. Risk empowering others. And when it comes to empowering others, the first thing, and these are all in R to make it easy, is just the relationship. You can't raise up somebody you don't know. You can't raise up somebody you're not in relationship with because you're never going to trust them. So you've got to look for those relationships. You've got to invite people into relationship. And I don't mean they have to be your best friend or you got to hang out with them. You know, that I've always been a big proponent in ministry of book studies because it gives me something to invite somebody to. You know, I can only invite maybe one person to coffee, and that's good, and that's wonderful as well. But beyond that, it's like, how can I gather a group of people so I can enter into relationship to empower them to be next? For me, that's been a book study. You have to decide in your own situation is how do you invite them into relationship? And then not only do you give them a relationship, but you give them responsibility. And again, when I was thinking about this, what does that mean? You know, because people often give away jobs they don't want to do and call that delegating. But to give responsibility means that you give decision making, that you support. A lot of times what leaders do is they'll give decisions to people, but they never really invest in that decision. It's like, okay, what color do you want the wall to be? And I'm going to empower you to make that decision, and you say you're going to make it blue, but I never really get behind that. So if blue tends to be wrong, then, you know, okay, whatever, because I never truly empowered you to make a decision in the sense that the decision you're making matters, and I'm behind it. You know, and I think we do that in parenting, and we do that in our jobs and in ministry. I know for us, I always leveraged when the kids were young is like as movies. What movies are they going to go to? What are good? What's bad? Allowing them, empowering them to make that decision, and so that their decision-making muscles grow. And it's not just our children. Decision-making, there are tons of books written about how to make decisions. And so there's a muscle that has to be developed and grow if next is going to succeed. And so that means not just saying, hey, you get to make the decision. I'm going to live with the decision that you make.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a part of the decision that you make. So you got to give them relationship. You've got to give them responsibility. And then you've got to give them reward. You got to let them be the hero. Let them be the one that everybody applauds, that everybody celebrates. And that means at the exclusion of you. Right? Because you think about our presidents, right? So we got all these different areas in some area. It's letting that person not only make that decision, but be the smart one who made that decision. Not that they carried out your decision, not that they did what you taught them to do. No. I'm trying to empower this person to be next. I'm not just trying to empower this person so my agenda can succeed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to raise them up. And so I'm not only going to give them the responsibility, I'm going to give them the reward.
Yeah.
I'm going to be willing to be seen as somebody who didn't come up with the idea, who wasn't the smartest one in the room. They were. They came up with the idea. They came up with the decision. They came up with all of it. And so I want them to get the reward. I want them to get the pats on the back. I want them to be seen as the leader, the pastor, the one who did it. So you give them relationship, you give them responsibility, you give them reward, and eventually you have to give them release. In other words, you've got to celebrate them pursuing whatever next is. And whether that's next in your organization or like in a family, that's next in their own family. You see lots of parents that struggle to ever release their kids. Their kids are married with kids of their own, and the parents are still controlling their children. Now, and because release is difficult, right? Especially if you've got all this time invested in raising up next. You're like, man, I've invested all this energy and time and money and effort, and now I'm releasing them to pursue, to become their own person. But that's necessary for us to raise up a generation of next. Now, that's what you give them. Here's what you take: the risk. Because we're all individual people. And no matter how good somebody comes across in the relationship, no matter how well they do with the responsibility, when you give them the reward, when you give them to be to be the one that makes the decisions and gets the reward and is seen the smartest one in the room, they can then fail, right? So there's a risk that you're going to raise up next, and next is going to destroy what you've worked so hard for. That's a risk. They could also take what you've given them. And that can be people, that can be money, that can be position. Right? You see that in companies all the time where the one who raised up somebody, then that person tries to overthrow the CEO or the manager or whatever it is. That's always a risk. I know in ministry, I've seen that happen where people who we have raised up will then take people, and when they take people, they take ministry and they take money with them. But if you're unwilling to take that risk, you're never going to raise up next. And ultimately, what you say you care about is going to die. All right? So first of all, you got to answer the question about who you are. We cannot get our identity in what we do, or we'll never release it. Secondly, we've got to do the process of raising them up. We've got to give them a relationship, responsibility, reward. We've got to release them. And we have to be willing, whatever position you're in, the one who's raising up next has to be willing to take the risk. And then lastly, you have to be willing to adjust your role as the organization changes, as you get older, all right? Because as you raise up next, as the organization gets older or it gets bigger, things have to change. I want you to think about it in the form of a parent, but this is true as a pastor, a president, a manager, whatever it is that you lead. Think about how this role changes. First of all, it begins, you're the provider, right? You're the one that started the business. As a parent, you're the one, you had the baby, you got to feed the baby, you got to change the baby, you got to do all of those things. You're providing everything that's needed. You're the one with the vision. You're the one who started, right? You're the manager. You're providing the schedule. You're providing all of the insight. You're the provider. Then you go from being the provider where now you're the protector. They may be providing some things for themselves. When you think about, again, the parent, you think that children now might be able to fix some waffle. They might be able to go to the bathroom by themselves, but they still need protection so that they can continue to grow and produce. So you go from being the provider to being the protector, and that's different. That's where some parents are still giving their 8-year-old child a bath, right? They're still providing. They're still tasting their food before they allow them to eat because they don't move from provider to protector. Right? So in protector, you're giving them more responsibility to provide for themselves, but you're making sure that they're not eating dirt. Yeah. Right? You're making sure that they're not getting into a shower that's 110 degrees, but they're the ones taking the shower and cleaning themselves. So you go from provider to protector, then to advisor. So now you're just giving wisdom. Right? Now you've lost a lot of power now because now you're not in control. You're not the one who is doing. You're not the one who is protecting. You're just advising. You're giving your wisdom. This is a hard step for a lot of people to take because it's where you feel it, right? You don't have as much control. Therefore, really, in reality, you over that individual, you might still over the organization have power, but over that individual, you don't have the same amount of power. And the same thing happens with parenting, right? Now you're the advisor. Now they're teenagers. Now they're in school. Now they're married. You're just their advisor. You're not deciding how they raise their kids. You're not deciding what profession they go into. You're not deciding what they do with their money. Now, again, parents often struggle just like managers and presidents, where you have a hard time not having that power. I'll help you, but here's what you got to do. I'll pay for it, but here's what you got to do. In other words, I'm not just going to be the advisor and you make the decisions. I'm going to be the advisor, the provider, and the protector because I'm still going to be in control. And then lastly, and this, again, is a step we often fight, but as you go from being a provider, protector, advisor into the follower, right? Again, if you think about it as parents, you go, you're providing everything for your kids, then you're protecting your kids, then you're advising your kids, and now your kids are the ones who are pursuing and so now you're following. In other words, you've taken that person in business and now they're the manager and you're following their leadership in that department. You may still be the CEO or or the lead pastor in my case, but you've so empowered somebody in that area that you're now following their leadership. You have totally empowered them. So, you are, again, I'm not saying you don't ever give any advice, but what I'm saying is a lot of times we don't ever, again, want to release that. We want to be the man. We want to be the woman. We want to be the strong one. And you can see when parents struggle to do that, right? And no longer following their kids because maybe their kids know more about finances and what's going on in the world because the parent is, struggling to keep up, maybe physically, maybe emotionally, maybe mentally, but they're still fighting to be in control. I'm the parent, right? And it's like, no. If we do it right, if you've provided and protected and advised, you can trust your kids and follow their advice. And the same thing with the manager or the leader of that ministry department or whatever it is. I think one of the things that we just don't do very well in society, we don't do very well even in the church, is raise up next. And I think a lot of it's just got to do with it's hard to give up power.
Yeah.
It's hard to give up control.
Yeah.
And you end up. Go ahead. Was you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and the scary thought is getting towards the end of your time, and I'm not even just saying like here on earth, but at a position or a role and things are moving or, you're getting tired, maybe it's time to retire, whatever it may be, and realizing you don't really know who's going to take that role because you can't speed up that process.
Right.
There's no like short track or fast track on how to get someone ready for leadership.
Yeah.
And, just that fear that could come upon you, especially with all the work that has gone into something. The last thing you want to feel at the end of that time, you want to be celebrating, not worried or anxious about how it's going to be after you, because of someone not being ready.
We tend to still do it like the animals do, like gorillas or lions. I was studying like lions because when we went to South Africa, and the way lions do it is you're the leader until the next one comes along and kills you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we tend to do that in life. You
That's
know
good,
what I mean?
yeah.
You're the leader until somebody beats you. And then that person may be good, they may be bad, they're just stronger than you. And eventually somebody's always going to be stronger than you.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're just going to get older. And physically, mentally, however, and then what's that hurts is the organization or the country or the church or whatever.
Well, and if they're, I would imagine at times too, part of the reason we may not want to raise up that next is because it could speed up the process of when it's time for us to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can either let them learn on their own because we know that's a slower process. It gives us more time. But to train that person sets them up quicker to kind of take whatever it is that we're doing that we may not be ready to give up, as you said, when it comes to that control piece.
But ultimately, if we love the organization more than we do our position.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We want the church, we want the country, we want the family, we want the business, we want the department. We want whatever it is that we're leading to win.
Yeah.
And that's a battle. You know what I mean? We're all got skin, and skin, the strongest survives. And we tend to fall into that if we're not really intentional about how we live life. And it's uncomfortable because you're always asking those questions.
Yeah.
As opposed to just believing I'm the best.
Yeah. It is an interesting conversation of whether it's, more often seen nowadays of not raising up the next. The average age of the U.S. president is 55. So both of these running presidents are significantly older than 55.
Well, and you think maybe would their energy be better used giving wisdom to somebody younger? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And we'll pray that God will be in charge. The Bible says the king's heart is in his hands. So we will trust him. All right. Well, thank you, guys. We got to choose our winner.
So
that is all we have left to do on this version of
Sunday Night Live.
Come on.
Woo, doggies. All right. Stephanie made an appearance. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Look at that.
Yeah, draw one. And
Come
you
on.
got to come way over here and give us the winner.
PT and PS.
Sarah invited by, how do you say that? K-A-L-A? Kala?
Kayla.
Kayla? K-A-L-A?
So who was it?
Sarah.
Sarah and Kayla, you guys are. Let us know, K-A-L-A, exactly how you say your name.
Yeah,
we are
pronunciation.
The pronunciation. We are glad you are here, and we are thankful that you were invited, and everybody who invited somebody. Thank you so much for participating and being part. We do have your choice. You got 4 shirts that you can choose from. We got a couple of journals, and we'll make sure that they either get handed to you or get put into the mail. Remember, in the chat, talk about anything. You can ask anything, and it's awesome. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? I have a book.
Oh.
That's right. I'm a, you know, they all say best-selling author.
Yeah.
I don't know how many books I've sold, but it's got to be.
You're an author, pastor, father, husband.
Anyways, if you haven't got the book, it's available wherever you buy books. You can get it online at Amazon. Leave a review, please. And here's why. Because the algorithm matters because it gets the book in front of more people. And I really believe that the book will help people reach their potential, that it'll encourage them, inspire them, challenge them, and all the proceeds go to Next because we're serious about that. And it makes a difference. So the reviews aren't for me, okay? I mean, you can write me a card and say, Troy, you're awesome, best-selling author. That'd be great. But the reviews aren't for me. They're really for those who are trying to decide whether or not this book meets their need and it impacts the algorithm. So thanks, and we'll be back. Oh, remember, every Thursday we have a podcast on all the podcast stations and right here on YouTube. We've got some other things coming like the pastor, what do we call it?
Pastor on the pulpit?
Pastor on the pulpit. What do you call the course?
Playground?
No, but what do you call that?
Obstacle course?
Yes, the office. Pastor's office. We'll come up with a better title.
Okay.
But anyway,
Pastors in the office.
Pastors in the office.
Look at that. What a change.
Yeah. Anyways, lots coming up. And
quick question for you, just to leave it with a
all right
little, you know what I mean? You're now, as you said, a best-selling author. Self-proclaimed. No, anyways.
Yes.
You're a best-selling author. Book number 2. What's it going to be about? Give us an insight right now.
You know what?
On
I do
Sunday
have
Night Live.
I have a title.
Oh, come on.
I have a title, and I'll share it next week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
excited.
share it next week.
I might show up.
That'd be good. Thank you for that. Y'all have an incredible 4th of July. Celebrate with family, friends, and we'll see you then next Sunday, 7:00 p.m.
Amen.
God bless and have a good week.